Number 9. German poker tournament robbery. This incident that took place in Germany sounds like it is straight out of a heist movie. In 2010, a band of young robbers chose to rob a poker tournament in Germany. However, they were unaware that the tournament was being televised, and thousands of viewers witnessed the crime. 4 men, aged between 19 and 21, stormed into the Berlin hotel hosting the event in broad daylight. What ensued was panic-stricken screams from the participants and total chaos. At about 2 p.m., the masked men attacked the tournament area of the hotel. They threatened the cash desk staff and grabbed whatever money they can find. The poker tournament was the largest of its kind ever held in Germany, and the prize money was said to have been of €1 million. The final rounds of the event were being televised live, and the news instantly spread like wildfire. One of the robbers was pinned down by a security guard, but he somehow managed to escape. There were rumors inside the hotel that men came armed with grenades and machetes, which further fired up an already panicked crowd. The robbers fled with $327,000. Fortunately, people only suffered minor injuries from the scuffle, and no one was hurt by the masked men. Although they managed to grab a significant amount, the celebrations were short-lived. The mastermind of the whole robbery was caught within a few days, and the rest of the men were arrested soon after. Number 8. Impaled. When you're on live TV, sometimes things go wrong, and there's not a lot you can do to cover it. Breaking away from the script and technical difficulties are common, but what happened in this morning show in Poland is something that left the viewers in total shock. In 2016, host Marysia Rogalska had invited a magician on her morning show called Questions for Breakfast. The magician wasn't an amateur. They had invited Marcin Polonowicz, who was a semi-finalist on Poland's Got Talent. The segment was going quite well when Marcin asked the host to take part in the next trick. Marcina readily and quite excitedly agreed to it. In the trick, she had to slam her hand on a brown paper bag, avoiding the one with a nail sticking upwards. Marcin must have clearly got mixed up in his head. Marcina screamed in pain as the nail struck her palm. For a brief moment, the magician couldn't believe what had happened. He thought Marysia was joking, but then he noticed the nail sticking out of her hand, more like through her hand. She was immediately taken to the hospital. The channel released a statement saying Marysia was fine and her wounds were superficial. Marysia also made a point to say that it wasn't Marcin's fault. They had already practiced the trick once before going live, but the bags got mixed up during the shoot. Marysia probably won't try any more stunts like that again on her show. Number 7. Ex-broadcaster. It was just another day for TV 24-year-old journalist Allison Parker, who was on field with camera person Adam Ward. The two journalists from WDBJ from Roanoke, Virginia, were assigned to interview Vicki Gardner, the executive director of one of the local chambers of commerce, on August 26, 2015. Alice was in the middle of the live interview when the most unexpected thing happened. The crew was attacked by a gunman. At 6:46 a.m., gunshots were heard and Adam's camera fell to the ground. For a brief moment, the camera captured the gunman holding a Glock 9mm pistol. Amid the screams and panic at the scene, Allison and Adam died on the scene, while Vicki survived the injuries. The identity of the gunman came as a shocking revelation in the case. The 41-year-old man who brutally attacked them was identified as Vester Lee Flanagan II, who was a former employee of the same news channel. He had been fired a couple of years ago after a few employees complained about his odd behavior. After Flanagan was identified as the shooter, a manhunt ensued for 5 long hours. At the end of the chase, he shot himself before the cops could arrest him. Flanagan was hired at WDBJ in 2012. Soon after he joined the news team, he started getting into conflicts with photographers and other reporters. There are written reports at the office of employees feeling threatened by his strangeness. A year later, he was fired for his volatile nature. He lashed out in the newsroom and had to be escorted out by security. Flanagan was holding a grudge against Allison and Adam. According to his social media posts and personal notes, the two late journalists had allegedly made racist remarks against him and complained about him. 2 hours after the crime, he sent a 23-page fax to ABC News titled "Suicide Note for Friends and Family," where he wrote that he was subjected to discrimination for being a homosexual black man. Number 6. Balloon Boy Hoax. How far would you go to get some fame? From the hoaxes and antics people have been pulling off lately, what this family did might not come as a surprise. On October 15, 2019, the police in Fort Collins, Colorado received a call from Richard Heen and his wife. Their 6-year-old son Falcon was trapped inside a flying saucer-shaped gas balloon. The couple said that they made the balloon and that the kid accidentally got trapped inside the plywood box attached to it. Immediately, the National Guard and local police set out on a chase to bring Falcon back safely. The balloon had already covered 50 miles within an hour and had reached a height of 7,000 feet. It finally landed 12 miles away from Denver International Airport. But here's what makes the incident strange. The child wasn't found inside. Later the same day, Falcon was recovered from the Heen family's attic, where he had been hiding the whole time. The incident had caught the media's attention, and everyone wanted to know what had happened. The family was interviewed the same evening after Falcon was found. Anchor Wolf Blitzer from Larry King Live asked Falcon why he was hiding. The little one looked at his father and very innocently said, "You guys said that, we did this for the show." Falcon had no idea that he had just uncovered the carefully planned hoax drawn out by his own parents. It was one of the most sensational revelations to ever air on live TV. Do you think there should have been consequences for the parents that sent police on a wild goose chase? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button if you haven't already. Number 5. Eyes on the ball. 39-year-old Shannon Stone took his son out to a Texas Rangers game in July 2011. What was meant to be a day of fun soon turned into tragedy, and the entire incident was caught on the camera that was covering the match. In the middle of the second inning, Rangers all-star outfielder Josh Hamilton threw a ball that went flying into the stands, straight towards where Shannon and his son were seated. Shannon obviously wanted to play hero for his son and put his firefighter skills to the test. Shannon lunged to catch the ball and reached over the railing, but while doing so, he lost his balance. He fell 20 feet, landing head first. He had crashed onto the concrete floor behind the stadium scoreboard. The entire fall was caught on camera. Even the fans at home had seen the unfortunate accident. When the incident happened, no one thought it would cost a life. Even the commentators had chuckled at Shannon's attempt at catching the ball. Brad Ziegler, a pitcher from the Oakland team, told reporters that Shannon was immediately put on a stretcher. Stone was worried for his son and asked a first responder to check on him, who was up there alone. Those turned out to be his last words. He had suffered from some serious internal injuries from the fall. People who saw Shannon said that he was conscious and talking. He was even swinging his arms, so no one expected how serious the internal injuries really were. Shannon didn't even reach the hospital. He went into cardiac arrest and died in transit. So the next time you're having a fun time watching the game from the stands, don't lean over any railings to catch a fly ball. It's not that important. Better safe than sorry. Number 4. Cooking with Chef. The camera captures everything, and this chef in a Slovakian TV show learned it the hard way. Back in January 2016, during a live morning show called Telerain, the camera was focusing on the host and the guest who was busy talking. It was just like any other normal morning show, but a quick pan towards the kitchen changed everything. As the camera moves to the kitchen, it shows the 36-year-old TV chef, Lubomir Herko, using a credit card to form lines with a white powder on the counter. The clip also shows a rolled-up blank note next to it. As Herko noticed the camera, he immediately drops down the card and looks up with a nervous smile. The clip was broadcast live, and this absurd shot went viral soon after. Police immediately contacted the channel to start an investigation into the matter. However, according to a statement by the broadcaster, the white substance used by Herko wasn't a drug. In fact, it was a joke they had planned for the segment. Chef Herko, in an interview, said that he was apologetic about the whole incident. The white substance in the clip was actually powdered sugar, which he had spilled earlier. Or was it? Number 3. Haunted Doll. Debbie Merrick and her husband chanced upon a set of vintage dolls at a secondhand shop. Debbie wasn't a collector. She didn't even like dolls, but when she heard the dolls were selling for so cheap, she thought that maybe she could resell these and pocket a profit from them. Like, who doesn't like making a few extra bucks? Debbie had no clue what would happen next. The couple had stored one of the dolls under their bed, while the other two were locked away in drawers. The next morning, when the couple woke up, her husband noticed at least a dozen scratches on his knees. It was enough to send a chill down their spine. The doll had started giving them an eerie feeling, so Debbie decided it was time to put it away. She stored the vintage doll in a storage box stacked below a couple other things in her shed. That's when the second shock came. When she went to the shed again, the doll's pearl necklace was hanging from the edge of the box. The couple was featured on ITV's This Morning in 2017 while the alleged paranormal activities were happening in their home. The doll was placed next to them in a rocking chair. We can't really tell if the doll was really haunted or not, but midway through the interview, the chair started moving on its own. Was it a gimmick, or did the doll really possess supernatural powers? Number 2. Mysterious Milwaukee. We have heard of UFOs and alien hoaxes, but what these newscasters caught in the Milwaukee sky was truly baffling. In 2018, Fox 6 News stumbled upon some alien lights in their broadcast sky view. The confusion was clear in the reporters' voices when they discussed among themselves trying to figure out what the lights were. At first glance, it appeared like fireworks, but here's where things got weird. Fireworks disappear after a few seconds, but these lights remained. In fact, the lights seemed to flow in different formations in the sky. After the live telecast of the scene, many people online tried to figure out what the lights were. Were we finally making contact with an extraterrestrial species? Or was it an optical illusion? The reality was much less sensational. When local reporters went to the spot to check out what these alien lights really were, they found out those specks in the sky weren't even lights in the first place. Those were seagulls. What? But how? Due to the camera's shutter speed, the outline of the birds was blurred, making it difficult for anyone to identify them. After the revelation, a video from the ground was released which proved that the lights were in fact seagulls. Sorry to disappoint the alien enthusiasts out there. And number 1, Big Brother. Justin Sebeck was our participant in Big Brother Season 2, and his behavior on the show earned him an infamous status. Though Big Brother doesn't necessarily count as live television, his actions were still caught on camera. Sebeck's misdemeanors led the producers to expel him from the show. No, we are not talking about being nominated out or being voted out. The guy was thrown out of the show. We all know reality TV thrives on drama, but Sebeck went too far, even by those standards. Sebeck had been known for his violent outbursts throughout the season. He would often threaten the other house guests and frequently deface the property, but things took a nasty turn during a drunken conversation with another house guest named Krista Stegall. Krista and Sebeck were making out in the kitchen when he took a shovel and pretended to bash her head with it. So what? It was a joke, right? Well, what happened next was even more shocking. He put the shovel down and picked up a knife from the kitchen drawer. The two were making out when Sebeck took the knife and held it to her throat. He asked her a hypothetical question on what would happen if he killed her. Krista was completely unfazed by the knife, but Sebeck's behavior was unacceptable. He could have harmed her pretty bad. Soon after the incident, he was kicked off the show. But he is not the only one who was expelled from the show. Over the course of 22 odd seasons of Big Brother, he is one among 4 house guests to be expelled from the house on the grounds of violence or damage to the property. After all, no matter what, there is a limit to how wild things can get. Thanks for watching. Have you ever seen anything crazy on live TV? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.